My name is Elara and I own a restaurant. Today, I deliberately put on my apron and started washing dishes because three customers were treating my staff very badly and I needed to teach them a lesson. As I scrubbed the same plate 4 times, the soapy water felt hot on my hands. My hands were starting to wrinkle. The seventh table was the problem. From here, I could hear them even above the noise of the kitchen, the sizzling of the pans, the buzz of a busy Friday night in downtown Seattle. Their voices cut through everything like nails on a chalkboard. Excuse me? Excuse me? The blonde woman's voice was shrill and demanding. This tastes like tap water. I specifically asked for Pellegrino. I watched from the kitchen window. I watched my waitress Maria apologize for the third time. Waitress Maria has been working with me for 4 years. She's using the money she earns here to go to nursing school. Her hands were shaking as she tried to explain that the water was actually Pellegrino. But I've gone too far. Let's back up. This morning started out like any other. At 6 a.m., I arrived at Ember Oak, my restaurant, my baby, my whole world. I truly loved my restaurant. I opened the heavy oak doors, breathed in the familiar wood polish and last night's rosemary scent, and got to work. We were fully booked for tonight. Every Friday is crazy busy with a wild crowd. But this Friday was an even more special night. It was the night before Seattle's big food festival, and we were one of the featured restaurants. My staff started arriving around 10 a.m. First came Marcus, my assistant, followed by the prep cooks, and finally, the servers. Everyone was energetic and happy. We were ready, of course, as we had experienced nights like this before. By 7 p.m., the dining room was full. The energy at every table was perfect, that beautiful chaos of a restaurant working at full capacity. Laughter, conversation, the clinking of wine glasses, soft jazz music playing softly overhead. 10 years ago, I worked 3 jobs to open this place. It was exhausting, but I always dreamed of moments like this. And now, I'm finally living the life I dreamed of. The seventh table arrived in the dining room. 3 women, whose handbags were probably more expensive than the restaurant's monthly rent. They looked like they were custom made. Their hair was perfectly styled. They paused for a moment, as if they wanted everyone to look at them when they entered a room. And you know what? In another context, maybe I would have been impressed. Maybe I would have thought they looked chic and successful. But I understood as soon as I sat down. After running a restaurant for 10 years, your instincts develop. Some customers come to have a good time. Others come to cause trouble. These 3? They came ready for war. They were like bombs waiting to explode. My waitress Sarah seated them at table number 7, one of our best tables, right next to the window overlooking Pike Place Market. Beautiful view, soft lighting. So it was the best place to take pictures. As long as they didn't cause trouble, we had seated them in the best spot. Sarah, 19 years old and saving money for college, handed them the menus with a warm smile. "Your waiter will be right with you," she said, in a stern tone. "Mmm," said the blonde without looking at Sarah. She had already begun scanning the room, judging, calculating. The other 2, the redhead in white pants and the brunette decked out in gold jewelry, were doing the same. Maria approached their table with water glasses and bread. "Good evening, ladies. Welcome to Ember Oak. My name is Maria, and I'll be taking care of you tonight." "Finally," said the blonde, glancing at her watch. "We've been sitting here for at least 2 minutes." 2 minutes was lightning fast in the restaurant business. Maria just smiled, placed the water on the table, and took out her notepad. "Can we start with something to drink? We have an excellent wine list, and our sommelier has just selected—" "Does this water taste like tap water to you?" The blonde woman interrupted, raising her glass as if it had been pierced in a trial. They were starting to cause trouble. "This is filtered water, ma'am," Maria explained. "But if you prefer, we also have a few bottled options." Maria remained composed. Yuck! Tap water. Seriously? The red-haired woman rolled her eyes. What kind of establishment serves tap water? The first time I heard these rising voices, I was reviewing the reservation list in my office. My office is right next to the kitchen, separated by a glass door, and I can also see the dining room. So I can see everything. Through that door, I could see Maria's face. Professional, calm. I knew her. The slight tension around her eyes. I got up and approached the kitchen door. I'll bring the Pellegrino right away, Maria said. What about the drinks? First, tell us about the menu, said the dark-haired woman, snapping her fingers. She really snapped them. What's here? Don't just read the menu, I can do that myself. I want to know what's worth ordering, what's worth eating, she said. Maria began to describe the most popular dishes, but the women weren't satisfied with any of them. Halibut fried in lemon butter, dry-aged ribeye. Our chef spent 2 years perfecting these pumpkin ravioli. He was knowledgeable, enthusiastic, and patient. They interrupted him 17 times. Is the fish fresh? Of course, ma'am. We get it from local suppliers. How fresh? As fresh as if it were caught this morning, or as fresh as if it had been sitting in a truck for 3 days? Does the steak come with a side dish? Yes, you can choose. What are the options? Roasted vegetables, truffle mashed potatoes? Truffles. Real truffles, or fake truffle oil. Is the ravioli vegetarian? Yes, and it's one of our special dishes. Is it vegan? No, ma'am, the pasta has cheese and eggs, but Then why are you recommending it? I said I'm vegetarian, not vegan. Do you know the difference? Maria hadn't said anything about the diet sections. If they had given her a chance to speak, she would have said it. I watched her shake her head, smile, and apologize for things that weren't her fault. The people at the surrounding tables were watching them. The other 2 waiters were looking at each other. And at that moment, I decided. I had to put these types, who came here to satisfy their egos and attract attention, in their place. I returned to my office, closed the door, and changed my clothes. I took off my work outfit, the black pants and silk blouse I always wore when meeting clients, and pulled an old kitchen apron from my closet, the kind my dishwashers wore, stained, worn, ordinary. I tied the apron around my waist, pulled my hair into a messy bun, and went into the kitchen. Chef, I said to Marcus, I want you to trust me. He looked up from the halibut he was placing on plates. Boss? I'm going on a secret mission. Marcus raised his eyebrows but didn't ask any questions. That's why I love him. He always trusts me. We've been working together for 10 years and he knows when to go with the flow. What do you want? What do you need, boss? He said. You need to send me to table number 7. And no matter what, you need to go with me. He looked at the 3 women at the kitchen window, then turned back to me. A sly smile slowly spread across his face. This is going to be fun, he said. I grabbed a service cart and headed out to the dining room. The noise hit me immediately, a beautiful symphony of chaos. But I tuned it all out. My target was table number 7. As I approached, I could hear the blonde woman, whose name I would later learn was Tiffany, complaining about the bread. This bread is cold, she said to Maria. How long has it been sitting here? I just brought it from the kitchen, ma'am. It was warm. Now it's cold. Take it back, she said. What did these women think they were? Always giving orders, belittling people. Maria reached for the basket. I could see the disappointment hidden beneath her professional politeness in her eyes. How many times had she apologized tonight? 10? 15? If I didn't intervene, she would apologize even more. If she didn't need the money, she wouldn't put up with it for even a minute. I approached the table with the dishwashing bucket in my hand. Excuse me, ladies, I'm clearing the plates. They barely looked at me. I was invisible. They thought I was just another worker in an apron. Just what I wanted. Finally, someone competent, Tiffany said to her friends. I was sure she wanted everyone to hear because she had just spoken loudly. But I'm surprised they brought kitchen staff out here. Shouldn't you be washing dishes in the back or something? I smiled. Actually, that's exactly what I was doing. Washing dishes. A lot of dishes. The red-haired woman, her name was Cassandra, wrinkled her nose. Disgusting. Don't touch our table with those hands. Of course I won't touch it, ma'am. I stepped back a little, still holding the tray in my hand. Is everything okay so far? Is your waiter taking good care of you? Him? The brunette girl, Vanessa, laughed. Honey, he can't even string 2 sentences together. We had to explain everything to him 3 times. This was a complete lie, totally made up. But I remained neutral, not breaking character. We've been waiting 45 minutes for our appetizers, Tiffany added. 45 minutes? Is this one of Seattle's best restaurants? I checked my watch. They had been seated for exactly 22 minutes. I knew because I had checked their reservation before coming here. I'm so sorry to hear that, I said. What did you order? Squid and burrata, said Cassandra. But honestly, I'm not even sure I want them right now. The service here is terrible. Through the kitchen window, I could see Marcus putting the appetizers on the plate. Perfect timing. The plan was working exactly as intended. You know, I said, leaning in mysteriously. Between us, I think the waiter is new. He probably doesn't know what he's doing. Would you like me to talk to the manager? His eyes lit up. Finally, someone who understood them had come along. Do you speak English? Tiffany asked. Because frankly, we're thinking of going. We have friends at the Walrus and the Carpenter, and they never have these kinds of problems. The Walrus and the Carpenter. A seafood restaurant in Ballard. It's a great restaurant. I've eaten there myself. But naming the place wouldn't save them from being my victims. Oh, I understand you perfectly, I said. You know how things work in this industry. Some waiters aren't cut out for quality food service. They don't understand that important, polite, understanding customers like you expect a certain level of service. Exactly, said Vanessa. Finally, someone gets it. And the waitress's name is Maria? I've seen her around here. Let's keep this between us, but I don't think she'll last long here. She'll definitely get fired. Just then, Maria walked past us carrying appetizers. I saw her freeze for a second. She had heard my words. Our eyes met. I gave her a slight wink. She understood immediately. Her eyes started to smile, and she struggled to hold back her lips. Here are your appetizers, ladies, said Maria, placing the beautifully arranged plates on the table. Crispy calamari with lemon aioli sauce and burrata cheese, served with traditional tomato and basil oil. Finally, Tiffany murmured. Maria walked away, and I pretended to wipe down the table next to us. I was in a spot where I could hear the whole conversation. After taking a bite of the calamari, they immediately started complaining. This is overcooked, Cassandra said. It wasn't. I had seen Marcus prepare it myself. It was perfect. And this burrata is at room temperature, Vanessa added. Burrata should be cold. That was also wrong. Fresh burrata is served at room temperature. Every chef knows that. Let them think that. I wasn't there to educate them. You know what? Tiffany said, loud enough for half the restaurant to hear. I want to talk to the manager. This is unacceptable. I turned around and looked at her. I overheard you. You want to talk to the manager? Yes, Tiffany said firmly. We've been patient, but this is ridiculous. And she was saying she'd been patient. It was enough to drive you crazy. I completely understand, I said. Let me see what I can do. At that moment, I went to the kitchen where the team was. How bad is it? Maria asked. Bad, I said. But it won't be long. Marcus, I want you to do something for me. 2 minutes later, I returned to the table. All 3 of them were staring at me. Ladies, I said, I spoke to the kitchen and they're very sorry for the wait. They want to send you a free meal to apologize. A free meal? Tiffany raised her eyebrows. Well, that's better. Yes, ma'am. Also, I paused for effect. The manager wants to speak with you personally. He's very concerned about your experience. Fine, said Cassandra. He should be. He'll be right there, I said. Please wait a minute. I went back to the kitchen, untied my apron, and hung it up. I fixed my hair. I took off my hair clip. I got my black blazer from my office and put it on. Marcus looked at me and handed me a leather folder. The kind managers carry for reservations and notes. Go handle it, boss, he whispered. It was time to start. I took a deep breath and began walking toward the table. But my walk was confident and upright, as if I owned a restaurant chain. Well, I did, didn't I? With a professional smile, I approached table 7. Good evening, ladies, I said. I'm Elara Chen. I own Ember Oak. I heard you wanted to speak with the manager? Their faces paled, all 3 of them, at the same time. Tiffany's mouth opened and closed like a fish out of water. Cassandra looked at her plate, seeming very interested in the multiple cooked squids. Vanessa's perfectly manicured hand went to her throat. You're the owner? Tiffany finally managed to speak. Yes, it's me, I said, pulling up a chair and sitting down. I sat down uninvited, somehow. I've been here all night. Actually, I was washing the dishes 10 minutes ago. Do you remember me? I'm the kitchen staff member you told not to enter the dining room. Silence. A beautiful, uncomfortable silence. Now, I continued, opening my portfolio and pulling out a printed timetable. Let's talk about your evening. You sat down at 7:14 p.m. Maria greeted you at 7:16 p.m. That's 2 minutes, whereas the industry standard is 3 to 5 minutes. Your drinks arrived at 7:21 p.m. Your appetizers arrived at 7:36 p.m. That's 22 minutes, not the 45 minutes you claimed. I placed the timetable on the table. Cassandra glanced at it and immediately looked away. The squid, I continued, was cooked for exactly 3.5 minutes. This is the perfect time for tender squid. Burrata is served at room temperature because fresh mozzarella should be served this way. It allows the flavors to fully develop. A true food lover knows this. That's not what we meant, Vanessa began. Didn't you want to humiliate my staff? I interrupted. Didn't you want to snap your fingers at Maria like she was a dog? Didn't you want to complain about tap water while drinking Pellegrino from a bottle? My voice was getting louder. I enjoyed watching them squirm. A voice inside me told me to keep going. I wanted them to truly feel what they had put Maria through. But I remembered something my father had told me when I first opened this restaurant. He had worked in kitchens his whole life, coming from Taiwan to America with only a knife set and a dream. Elara, he said, running a restaurant isn't about revenge, it's about respect. If someone disrespects your home, you don't burn it down. You teach them why they should behave better. So I tried to stay calm. I softened my voice. Here's what I think happened, I said. The 3 of you came here tonight hoping to be impressed. Maybe you've heard good things about Ember Oak. Maybe someone recommended us. But at some point, maybe you decided it would be more fun to find fault somewhere before you even sat down than to let the evening spoil. Tiffany's eyes welled up. Good. Let her feel something. Do you know how long Maria has been working here? I asked. 4 years. Why do you ask? Because she's professional, knowledgeable, and treats every customer with respect, even those who don't deserve it. She's going to nursing school. She works double shifts on weekends to earn her tuition, and tonight, she responded to your bad behavior with a smile because that's the kind of person she is. We're sorry, Cassandra whispered. We're really sorry. Are you? I asked. Or are you just sorry you got caught? My words affected them deeply. I could tell by the look on their faces. I want you to think about something, I continued. Everyone working in this restaurant tonight, from the dishwasher you insulted, to the hostess you ignored, to the waiter you tormented, they are all people with lives, dreams, bad days, and good days. They chose to work here. They chose to serve you. And you responded by treating them as if they were beneath you. I stood up and motioned to Maria, who was standing near the bar. Maria approached us, wearing her professional mask. Maria, I said, these ladies want to say something to you. All three looked at Maria. No one spoke for a long time. Then Tiffany cleared her throat. We're sorry. We were rude and disrespectful, and you didn't deserve that. We're really sorry, added Vanessa, her voice trembling slightly. You were doing your job, and we made it impossible for you. Maria looked at me, then back at them. Thank you, she said simply. I appreciate that. Here's what we'll do, I said, placing a leather bill holder on their table. Inside were their bills. Full price, no discounts, no free meals. You'll pay for your meal. You'll leave a 25% tip, because excellent service deserves it, even if the customers are terrible. Then you'll leave my restaurant. But we didn't even eat, Cassandra started. You ate the appetizers, I said. That's what you paid for. Consider this a lesson in humility, cheaper than therapy and twice as effective, I said. I got up from the table and started to walk away. Then I stopped and said, Oh, one more thing. You asked if Maria was new. She's not. But I'm curious. How many restaurants have banned the three of you? Their faces fell again. It was satisfying to see. A voice echoed inside me. Bingu. I thought so too, I said. News travels fast in this industry. We talk to each other, you know. Owners, managers, we have a group chat. And believe me, your names have been added to a very special list. I returned to the kitchen where all my staff were waiting. They gave me a high five. Flight attendant Sarah was trying not to laugh, and Maria, beautiful, patient, professional Maria, had tears in her eyes. Boss, she said, you didn't have to do that. But I had to. No one would ever treat an employee like that. Yes, I said, firmly. I did. No one treats my family like that. Because they are my family, my employees, my team, the people who come here every day and give their all. They are my family. And you can't let anyone disrespect your family. I watched the three women from the kitchen window. They paid the bill and left my restaurant. Their heads were bowed as they left. Their designer bags couldn't protect them. Now they know something more. Maybe they didn't learn it, but I learned something that night. Let me explain it to you. Power does not mean wealth. It is not just about status and designer bags. True power comes from knowing your own worth and protecting those who deserve protection. It comes from standing your ground when it's uncomfortable to do so. It comes from remembering that everyone, from the CEO to the dishwasher, deserves respect. That night, 3 women learned this lesson the hard way. As for me, I learned that leadership means getting your hands dirty when necessary. Literally. The next morning, Maria sent me a message. Thank you for supporting me last night. You're the best boss. I replied, you're the best waitress. And that's not just my opinion. It's a fact. Because respect is non-negotiable, both in my restaurant and in my home. And if you can't treat people with basic human decency, the door is right there. If you've encountered and witnessed this type of person, mention it in the comments, share your story. Maybe you'll see your story on this channel. I'm Elara, owner of Ember Oak, and I want to remind you, if you like these types of revenge stories, stay tuned, because there are more people who need to learn respect. Stay tuned to see pain turn into power.